When I go to sleep, I forget it. That's the time I realized if a part of you is dead, the mind does not recognize it. So my mind was not aware there was a hand. For the nurses and to look for a way of putting it here. So they would tell me, when you want to stand, get your hand and lift it and put it here. So now they started dealing with transverse myelitis. That's why my right leg and my right hand were down. Yes, I can't move, but my faith tells me God can give life to what is dead.
I think after 2 weeks from the discharge, because she was discharged with a lot of medication, then one evening we are watching telly and she says, why are you switching off the television? Then I say, no, the telly is still on. And she said, no, you have switched off, I can't see. So we realize she's not seeing.
Ndoa ni jambo la busara na kila mtu ana ndoto ya kwamba apate mtu ambaye watakalishana pamoja hadi milele. Lakini wakati mwingine huenda changamoto zikachangia watu kuachana ama mambo mengine. Changamoto zenyewe huenda zikawa magonjwa, umaskini ama pia mambo kama ajali. Leo tuko na wageni ambao wamepitia changamoto nyingi kwenye ndoa yao, lakini hata hivyo wamekaa pamoja tanzia wakati wa shida mpaka sasa hivi. Je, mtu ambaye umemuoa ama mtu ambaye unakaa na yeye akipatwa na shida utampenda bado? Ungana nami kwenye hii episode ambapo tuko na couple ama watu ambao wameoana, watupatie story yao, watupatie safari yao ya magumu ambayo wamepitia kwenye ndoa yao. Kama ni mara yako ya kwanza kuingia kwenye hii channel ya Salsha Show, unafinya hapo chini una subscribe ili upate content yetu, share pia na watu wengine, ulike, comment na ufurahie content yetu. Mimi ni Salsha Wambua na karibu kwenye hii episode. Haya, habari zenu?
Mzuri.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe.
Amen.
Karibu sana ndani ya Salsha Show. Ningependa kwanza tumsalimie mtazamaji wetu. Tujitambulishe kwa ufupi. I'll start with mom.
Mjamboni nyote. Majina yangu ni Dan and Makena ama Mrs. Dan. Mimi nimeokoka na mpenda Yesu. Mimi ni mama ya watoto wawili, mvulana na msichana. They are both big. Na nashukuru Mungu kwa baraka ya watoto. Uanga nafanya kazi ya wanaitwa nini sasa? Counseling psychologist. Wale wanapeananga inaitwa something nasaha. Kitu kama hiyo. So mimi nakuwa counseling psychologist na tunaishi hapa Machakos. Nimesaliwa Meru na nikaolewa Kitui.
Wow.
Lakini tunaishi Machakos.
Karibu.
Yes, asante.
Asante Betty. I greet you all in the name of our Lord. My name is Dan Mutunga. I'm born again and I'm married to one female wife, and she's the one who had just introduced herself. She's Jane, and we are blessed with 2 children, as he has said, a boy and a girl. And we are glad, we thank God for the gift of children. I'm a banker by profession, and I work in one of the banks in the country. And yeah, apart from that, I am also a certified mediator and a counselor and a certified coach. So I wear all those hats, and I thank God for this far.
Unatokea wapi?
Mimi ni mzaliwa wa Kitui Central, na ninafanya kazi Nairobi na ninaishi Machakos.
Asante. Karibu sana. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to have your story ama kuzungumza nani ndani ya hii channel. Tutaanza sijui wapi. Mlipatana wapi? Mshasema married to one female wife. Maybe you can start from there. Mlipatana wapi?
Tulipatana humu nchini. Nilianza kufanya kazi upande wa Meru, mahali kunaitwa Maua, and that time I was a young man. That is when we met, and we met in a church. The church I used to fellowship, she was also fellowshipping there, and we were in praise and worship team. I was a praise and worship team leader, and she was one of the members of the praise and worship. And in the course of time, we got attracted to one another, and that's how we met and started.
Nyinyi wote kwa wakati huo mlikuwa mmeokoka?
Sote tulikuwa tumeokoka. Mimi niliokoka nikiwa shule kabla ya kumaliza shule, na yeye pia aliokoka akiwa shule, akiwa msichana mdogo. Kwa hivyo tukipatana sote tulikuwa tumeokoka.
I thank God for that. Makena, what made you get attracted to the man? Yeah.
As he has said, tulikutana kanisani, and we were just good friends. Ile freedom ya praise and worship members. After practice, tungesindikizana na wale wengine, and we were just good friends. And I didn't know something was to come up, but God knows.
Yes.
But I usually remember a prayer I made one time when I was in secondary. Mimi niliokoka nikiwa standard 7.
Wow.
And God gave me a good school. I went to a good school, and in school there are these weekend challenges. There was time we had a weekend challenge, and we had invited other schools around us. And a young man, a CU leader from Mukoni Secondary, led some songs. He was a Kamba boy, and I decided, okay, this man is singing so nicely. I was also a singer, but I don't know what made me change my prayer. That as I prayed for a husband, I was telling God, God, give me a Kamba boy or a Kamba man who is a singer. And when I met him, he was also singing, but I didn't know I was to get married to him.
You sing?
Yeah.
Sitatuimbia. That's a very beautiful story.
We sing. We do sing for the glory of God.
You still sing up to your age now? Yeah. You know, she met you when you were younger. A man that loved Lord even when he was younger. Maybe kumekuwa na mabadiliko as you grew?
Yeah, no. In terms of singing, I still sing. I still sing, but not the professional singing. I still sing to praise God. Yeah.
Nini likufanya ukasema she is the one, and then you exchanged your vows?
I think I may not exactly say what happened. I would say it was the will of God, because there were many girls I would have talked to, but for some reasons, as we continued in the fellowship and in the meetings and all that, kind of my spirit just felt attracted to her. I used to ask God, I would want somebody happy, somebody who will make the house bright and all that. And she was one of the sisters who would love over a very small thing and love it all. So she was ever smiling, and even today she is still
smiling. Look at her.
Wow. At the church, he would just laugh and disrupt the service, everything, until the pastor said, no, just ignore that one, and we move on.
Makena. Thank you. Now, moving on. Now you're married. How did you move from, I don't know where you were that time, because I currently know you're living in Machakos. Hapo katikati, ilikuwaje?
I think after we got married, she was a high school teacher. shortly she resigned and she started businesses. I was employed, and of course transfers come and go. So I was transferred from Maua to Embu, briefly to Meru, then Embu, then Machakos, then Nairobi. I've moved around many places until now. So being in Machakos now is as a result of those transfers and movement, but it got to a time when now we got children, we said we got to get a central place to rest and settle. So that's how we landed in Machakos, and we have settled in Machakos. So we go and come. Yeah.
Now, tuanze na story ya Makena sasa. Sijui tutaanzia wapi. Acha tuambie na mwenye alikuwa na wewe, then we get back to you. What happened?
I think when we got married, one of the vows we make is we will support each other until death do us part. Most of the time when we confess these vows, we do it without anticipating some things will come. But along the way, we have had a very good marriage relationship. We've had a very good family and our children and happy family. Everybody moving up and down in life and doing our stuff. But it came a time when I think is 2006 thereabouts.
Something, yeah.
2006 or 2000, before post-election violence, I think, when she started feeling unwell. Her health started having challenges. So, and how it started as a simple sickness. I remember we had just gone for an open-air meeting around Machakos town, and we were singing. We were actually the usual praise and worship. We were singing in the open air, and it was very powerful. People gave their lives to Christ, and we were very excited that day. And by the time we are going home, we were quite happy. And of course, maybe she can say something about the open air, then I can come in.
Yeah, the open air was very nice. I was leading the praise, but in the process we were standing at a junction, and there was a vehicle that was passing, and then a small boy was jumping the road. Everybody thought that boy had been hit by the car. Lakini by the grace of God, Mungu tu akamwokoa. And I usually look at it like, okay, God rescued this boy so that he would give us a time to preach. Because had it happened, we would not have preached.
Correct.
So we preached, our pastor took over, preached, and the meeting went on well, people got saved, and we went home very happy. We went to the house, took our supper, and we went to sleep. That is
like
why I
a
can
normal
remember.
day.
Yes. So we went to sleep. Me, that is why I can remember.
What happened?
So I think
now after we took supper, we went to sleep normally on that particular day. And because we were tired, of course, getting to bed, it was just a flip of an eye, and we were asleep. But around midnight, maybe around 1 a.m. thereabout, I was woken by her kicks. So I heard somebody kick, and I thought, there are dreams you can dream. Maybe you are falling, or I thought now she's dreaming. So I heard the kicks 2-3 times, and then I knocked her kidogo, and I was like, hey, what's up? Yeah, but then after 3 kicks, and after trying to find out, hey, what is it, she stopped any movement, and I tried to call her, and she was not responding. So at that moment, I reached out to the switch. I switched on the lights, and I found like she's dead.
You died?
I mean, And
He
I mean,
usually tells me.
yeah, surprised, and I'm seeing somebody's lying straight like a log, and the eyes have turned white, they have rolled, and I'm trying to call her and she's not responding. So I tried to lift her to sit, but then she wasn't. I mean, when you try to lift he's actually rising the whole body straight as a log, and I got shocked. So at that moment is when I got confused, kind of. I jumped out of the bed, of course with pajamas, and I learned a lesson that when you go to sleep, sometimes put on something could happen and you need to wake up and move. Yeah, so I went to the neighbor. We were living in a rental house, so the neighbor apparently was our pastor who we were with during the open air in the day. So I went and knocked, and then he couldn't open the door. There were that time there were a lot of insecurity in town, and people were being woken up in the night by thugs. So he thought maybe those are the guys who have come. So he hesitated to open the door. And I remembered I have a phone, so I went back to the house again. I tried to call my neighbor, and when he looked at the phone, he saw it's me calling. And of course he still hesitated because he thought maybe the thugs have come to wake me up, they have already robbed us, and now they want to go to the next neighbor. But then he said, okay, they are my friends anyway, they are my church members. Yes. If they are in danger, I cannot leave them alone at this time. So he picked the phone, and I told him, please rush to my house, I have an emergency. All that time she's lying on the bed, and they came with the wife immediately and went straight to the bedroom. I did imagine or think that this is my bedroom, so I'm welcoming them in my bedroom and telling them, wow, there is a problem here. So when we got there, she was now a bit warm. I think now she was coming back to life slowly by slowly. We checked the eyes were starting to roll back, half white and not really blinking. And we said a short prayer, of course, with that confusion, and then we tried to bring the eyes back, rolling them back. And then we were asking ourselves, what next? We have prayed, but kind of, I don't know whether we did not believe. We said, okay, let's rush to the hospital. So we then quickly carried her out, put her in the car, and we rushed to one of the hospitals in Machakos, a private hospital. And on arrival, we found, because it was in the night, and in most hospitals in the night you find they are not doctors, they are on call. They will only be called if there is an emergency. So we got the nurses there, and we tried to explain to them what happened. We brought her, she was still unconscious, helpless, and looking weak. So kind of they looked at the situation and they said the best we can do is to do an admission and wait for the doctors to come. But I said I was not very comfortable to just have her admitted, go and lie on the bed, the hospital bed. That has no difference from her lying in my bed at home. Correct. So I needed somewhere where he can probably be getting some medical attention. So I told my pastor, can we take her to Nairobi? And he told me, calm down, give them time, let them see what they can do. I said, if it's just admission to wait for the doctor, then I am not ready for that. But if they are calling a doctor, maybe I will wait to see. So then we stayed there for a while, and we had a discussion with them, and it was clear that there is no doctor who is coming at that moment. So we agreed, okay, let's go to Nairobi. So we drove to Nairobi, and all that time she's almost lifeless in the car. She's not talking. She's just lying there. So we got to a place around Samia. That is the point there were bumps on the road, and because it was night and I was driving a bit fast and with confusion. Actually, I was the one who was driving. So I hit a bump, and the road, the speed bumps. So I hit one, and the car sprang up, and she laughed. At the back seat there.
Is she conscious right now, Makena?
At that time she was.
No.
Remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she laughed.
What is she laughing?
And I said maybe is her character to laugh. Even in death, she's laughing. So, and the people in the car, my pastor and the wife, we were all then half shocked and half happy because she has at least laughed. But then she laughed once and then slept again. And we tried to call her, she's not responding. So we got to Nairobi Hospital around 3 a.m. and we were received very well. They took the vitals, and at least she was still alive. And then they said they would do an admission. They gave some medicine. I don't know what type of medicines they administered. And by 5 a.m. she woke up from that deep sleep, I would say. So when she woke up, she looked up and saw the ceiling, the hospital ceiling were different from the ceiling in our house. And she kind of came back to her senses, and she was asking, okay, where are we now?
At what point now?
That's now 5 a.m. The same night when we arrived in Nairobi, and now she's being prepared to go to the ward. And they had done some first aid. I don't know what they did. So she was now coming back to her senses. So we told her, you are not feeling well. She says, no, I'm well. Where are my children? So and that's I think is special with ladies. The first thing they will ask is kids, where are they? So we now had to explain to her the whole episode, and then she started crying again. So she cried a lot, and of course the doctors now took over, and she was admitted in the ward. So that now I think the following days when they started investigations on what really happened, why did she just collapse? She was not diabetic. She had no issues of blood pressure. She had actually no pre-existing condition that would have warranted such a collapse. And then they said we will investigate. So they took samples of blood and all sorts of specimens to investigate. And I think after 1 or 2 days, then she started vomiting.
Wait, Makena, what are you feeling at this point? You've woken up, you're seeing yourself in a different setup, in a hospital setup, let me call it. Are you feeling any pain? What are you feeling in your body at this point?
I was not in any pain. I was not feeling any pain. And I was also wondering, why am I here? So I was asking him, why did you bring me here? And he tells me you fainted overnight at night, and I wanted to know what is it. And it was a bit emotional for me because I didn't sleep here and I'm waking up here. And okay, I stayed in the hospital. The only thing I can see is there was some slight headache.
Slight?
Nothing more, yes. Not much.
Are you strong this time?
Yes,
are you
I was
feeling
strong. I was okay. They are taking blood samples. They are taking samples of many things, and I'm just there. But I remember they had put a blannula in my hand, and when they removed it, the hand swelled. So I had to stay in the hospital again. But also in the process, I started vomiting.
After they took the specimen and what did they find kwa ufupi?
The local specimen, they showed nothing. They did find anything abnormal. They said everything is okay, but then they said they will take some samples to Germany and I think to South Africa for more tests. That would take them a week or two to get the results. But then they also said they would want a psychiatrist to check on her. So they called a psychiatrist and he came and had a discussion. They talked, I think 2 hours or so. And I was wondering, what are they talking all this time? And the psychiatrist came again and said, we suspected maybe kind of stress, depression, but she's okay. She doesn't have depression. She doesn't have signs of depression or that. When we, the psychiatrists, they look at the background of a person. Where are you coming from? The childhood, blah blah, and just to see whether there was any traumatic event that could be triggering kind of the brain. Operations. So the psychiatrist then ruled out any possibility of depression, but all this time she's still vomiting. Taking anything small, a drink, a solid, anything, she vomits immediately. So they gave the anti-vomiting drugs and for a whole week, and she became very thin again. But after 1 week, then everything was in control, and they suppressed the vomiting. And then the second week, the results from Germany and South Africa, I think they responded, and they said there's nothing. They can't see anything abnormal with her. And because now they had taken control of the vomiting, they had to discharge us. Yeah. So in 2 weeks we were discharged, and she was okay, and we went home very well. So when we came back home, we were happy. We are back to our normal life.
Correct.
And of course the family life and all that, and everybody went to his own thing. She was doing her own thing. She would wake up very active and do all that kind of stuff.
Still smiling.
Yeah,
Yes.
Still smiling. Yeah. Yeah. So after I think after some 2 weeks or a month after that, then she again started feeling a lot of headache and weakness, and then we said, okay, we have to go to hospital again. So we went to the hospital, and I think it was either a Wednesday or a Tuesday. And I took her there myself. She was admitted, and they said they want to do more checks and all that because they couldn't see anything that was causing the headache, and then they started that. So that was a Wednesday or a Tuesday there.
It was a Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday.
Yes.
So Wednesday she's there. Thursday I go and see her. She's okay. And our kids were young, they were in school, and we did not want to disrupt their learning, to take them to see her. So I would come back in the evening and tell them, Mommy is okay. We will go and see her on Saturday during the weekend. So I was there on Thursday, so I told her I will not come tomorrow, Friday, because on Saturday I will come with the kids. So I went there on Saturday with the kids in the afternoon for visit. So getting there, our kids were under 13. So we were told they can't go to the ward. So how are they going to see the mother? The mother is in the ward. So we were told, okay, she will be brought here at the lobby, the Nairobi hospital lobby there. So we were there waiting to see her smile, and of course the kids were waiting for the mother to come. and we waited there, and she was brought by a porter on a wheelchair. So, and for me, because I had seen her just a day before and she was okay, I thought it was normal for patients to be, transported by a porter on a wheelchair in Nairobi Hospital, because that is the norm. Even when you are okay, they would want you to walk as long as you are on those uniform of theirs. So they will push you with a wheelchair. So they bring they bring her to us in a wheelchair. And we try to greet her, we stretch our hands, and we find she's not lifting her right hand. And we were wondering, kwani utaki? She's trying to lift the left one. The left one could lift a bit, but the right one would not. And then at that moment, the right leg also slipped out of the step of the wheelchair. And she couldn't return it. Yeah.
Makena, in between, your husband has come to see you on Thursday. Mmeagana vizuri. We will come back on Saturday. Before then, so we have Friday in between. How are you feeling? Do you feel anything? How are you generally at this point?
When I started feeling the headache and the shoulder pains, before we went to the hospital, the pain was much. And we went to the hospital, and the doctor said I be admitted waniangalie nikiwa hapo. On Thursday, he found me okay, though in pain, but with some painkillers. Still waiting I had gone for an MRI. I think we were waiting for results. So on Friday, in the morning, I could not get my leg out of bed. And I woke up not lifting my hand.
Okay.
And that
it
was
just happened?
Yes, it just happened. I can't tell you how.
But you on Friday?
On Friday morning.
You can't lift
I can't lift my leg. I can't get my leg out of bed. And I can't lift my right hand.
Are you communicating to anyone at this point about it, like what you're feeling?
I just pressed the bell for the nurses to come and help me.
Does he know you were feeling something off at this point?
No, but he was not near me, so I could not have told him. I just was also in denial because I thought ni kitu inaisha tu sahi.
Okay.
Because ni mkono na mguu. Na weakness ilikuwa kwa limbs, lakini ile ilisindiwa ni right side, mkono na mguu. Yeah. Hii ingine at least ningeinua kidogo. And I didn't think it is something that is serious. I didn't think it was something that could keep me down for some time. Yes.
Yeah, so Saturday now we are there with the kid, and she can't greet us. The leg, slips out of the wheelchair and she can't return it. And so the nurse who had come together with the porter, she tells me her right hand and leg are not strong. So at that point, I'm shocked, but then I have the kids. I am trying to be strong for them.
You don't want them to notice.
I don't want them to notice, but I think of course they would notice. Our kids are a bit very observant. Observant. Especially to me, they have always known Dad to be a strong man. So I didn't want them to see that I'm shocked, because now they will still get maybe worried. Something is wrong with Mom. So we finish the visiting, and she's taken back. So we come back. But before we come back, I went and saw the nurses at the nurses station just to inquire what happened. So they said, she has some general weakness on the right side. So the doctors are still investigating. If I need to know more, I will need to come to see the doctor so that the doctor can give me the story. So I said I will come the following day. The following day was a Sunday. And of course it's not easy to see the doctors on Sunday. So, and again I had to go to church on Sunday to pray, at least, because even prayer would do better than a doctor would do. So we went to church, and then after church we went again to with my pastor to see her. We found she was still in the bed in the same condition, and she now told us the investigations that are going on to find out what it is. And then the following week, then the same problem now moves to the right, to the other side. Yeah, the left. Now the right is gone. The right arm and the right leg are paralyzed already. No change. And then it is now slowly moving to the left side. So she's not able to lift the left hand to the normal length. She can lift it a bit, but not so much. The leg also is weak, the left one now. And of course now the doctors are also wondering what is happening, because they are not seeing, she had already gone for a head scan. The head was okay, the MRI was okay, but then I think they did a deeper check on her spine during that week. So that's the time now they said she has a problem with the spinal cord, where it originates from the neck. So they said there is a small inflammation around the neck, where the spine starts, or where the spine connects with the brain. So then they said the inflammation needs to be curtailed. Otherwise, now it will affect and make her paralyzed for forever. And then we had a chat with the doctors, and they said they have two options. One, they have either to do a spine surgery, which they said they are not very keen to do because it is normally 50-50. They might touch the spine and she jumps out of the wheelchair and she's fine. The other side is they might touch the spine and she doesn't wake up from the wheelchair. Wow. And she's permanently there. So they said they are a bit hesitant to go that route. Of course, considering her age, she was young, so they thought if we touch and the worst happens, she will be on the wheelchair the rest of her life. Yeah. And we can see the children are young, the husband is young, so of course they had that hesitation. And I remember we had a panel of doctors, I think around 4 specialists. We had a consultant, not gynecologist, called neurologist, Professor Kioi. We had a consultant physician, we had a consultant surgeon, we had a consultant psychiatrist, and I think there was another one. I think they were a number of 5 doctors. And they said, okay, the lead doctor was the consultant physician. Is the one who was the lead doctor. So they said, let's observe. So the neurologist said he does not recommend the surgery to happen. They would try to do to clear the inflammation through steroids,
to suppress
it a bit, the swelling, so that they can see how it responds. And then they put her on that treatment. So I think she was there for a week, and then after a week, she's not really responding. She's still weak on both sides, the legs and the arms, And at that point is when now the surgeon, surgeons sometimes they don't see a big deal. Yeah. So he comes in the morning and he tells her that I would want to see your husband. When he comes to check on you, tell him I am looking for him. So when I came for visiting hours, then she told me the surgeon was looking for you. So I go to the nurses and ask, where is Dr. XY, the surgeon? So they said he was around here. He has a patient he was seeing. So I said, can you call him? So they called him and he came to the nurses station, and I introduced myself. Of course, he knew me, but I told him my name, and then I told him my patient is Jane. Then he said, oh yeah, I was looking for you because her condition is not improving. I don't know why such blunted with words.
Hey, at least put it in a way that it will not sound harsh, to give you some hope.
Exactly.
Yep.
He was very blunt, and he told me, your wife, he's not improving. And I think we may have to do the surgery.
Tomorrow.
We have to do the surgery. If you are ready, we can do it tomorrow. So I'm asking, is it the same surgery you were talking about, 50-50?
Yeah, 50-50.
So I remember the 50-50 story. And he said, yes. It's a spine. We will have to touch it because she's on drugs and she's not responding. We can't see improvement. So it's better we try this one. It can be okay, it can be on the other side, but let's focus on the 50% okay. But
it's still 50-50 anyway. Not 70-30, it's 50-50.
Yeah. So I was not very comfortable, and kind of they had put me in darkness for I think 3 days, not talking to me, and then I had to look for the consultant physician, the lead doctor, and I think I wasn't very kind because I was very emotional and kind of I don't think I was logically thinking. I couldn't see this is a doctor. He holds the life of my wife, and I need to maybe to talk to him nicely. But I think I was a bit harsh, and I quarreled the doctor much and telling him that you people, you have kept me in dark for 3 days. I don't know what is happening, and now you come and tell me tomorrow you want to touch the spine. And remember the story you told me about 50-50 thing. So he said then, okay, I'm not aware of what you are telling me. I don't know where you've gotten the news about the surgery. I said, but I was with the doctor, the surgeon, a few hours ago, and he said, yeah. He said, okay, we have not discussed that in the panel, and don't listen to any other doctor. I'm the one who will give you any step that we are taking. So, and from today, the surgeon is off the panel because hakuna kazi yake. Yeah.
Let me interrupt. Does she know that there is a surgery that was suggested, and this surgery is 50-50? Ama you are just taking the responsibility of everything? Doesn't know anything.
Okay, the surgeon had mentioned to her.
He came and told me.
Yeah.
He came and told me, tell your husband we need to operate on you tomorrow. So akija anione.
Lakini wewe unajua hiyo risk ya hiyo surgery?
Sinajua ni mgongo.
No, washakwambia kwamba kuna uwezekano, but you are prepared. Are you prepared about the surgery at this point?
I was not, because I was not ready for it. I didn't know ni ya nini. Lakini najua niko na kauvimbe kwa mgongo. So I didn't think it would go that far. Ya kuoperatiwa. But now he comes and tells me, your condition is not improving, we need to operate on you. So tell your husband to look for me when he comes. Nikamwambia ni sawa daktari. Yes.
Yeah, so after that is when now this physician, lead doctor, at least gave me assurance and hope, and he told me the neurologist said that there is a slight improvement in terms of when he looks at how the swelling is behaving. He recommends we give it some time. and then that is what happened. So within that 1 week, and with steroids and the medication, she started now feeling, because at first she was not feeling. Even if you pinch, she couldn't feel anything. So she started having some feeling that the arms were not strong, but when you pinch, she could move a bit. So there was life coming back to the limbs.
The left side.
The left side,
Yes.
yeah.
And
the
the
left
right
side? No. The
Yeah.
right side, I could not even lift the hand. So they had to look for something, because my hand had started twisting this way. And at times I could just, when I go to sleep, I forget it. That's the time I realized, if a part of you is dead, the mind does not recognize it. So my mind was not aware there was a hand. That was part of it, but dead.
You are dealing with the active side of your
Yes.
body.
So when I go to sleep, I can even sleep when it is turning the other side. Yes. So the nurses had to look for a way of putting it here for me every time. So they would tell me, when you want to stand, get your hand and lift it and put it here. So I was staying with the hand here, but the leg also was lifeless. So most of the things, munisaidie, because I can't make by myself.
Dan, how are you managing at home now? You know, life just changed within a span of, you know, now things have changed. Your wife is at the hospital, you have kids, of course. You also had work to do and things. You know, that's a certain change that was so quick. How are you managing?
I think it was quite abrupt and unexpected, and I was still a branch manager in the bank that I was working for, and actually I was in Kitui, so I'm in Kitui, work, and the family, the kids are in Machakos, and the mother is in Nairobi. So it was quite a roller coaster kind of a life, but for some reason I had the grace to do all that, and Kitui, Machakos, Nairobi. So one, I had a very supportive boss. Yeah, my regional manager would call me and ask me, Dan, where are you? Are you in Kitui, Machakos, or Nairobi?
I know.
Yeah, so when I say I'm in Kitui, then we will talk business. When I say I'm in Nairobi, then she will just ask me, how is Mama? And I give the report, and he tells me, okay, all the best. So she will not ask me anything about work when I am in Nairobi or when I'm in Machakos. But the moment I say I'm in Kitui, then she will ask me, how is the family? And then
it's a lady.
Yeah, it's a good lady. She was a good boss, I would say. And because my work was managerial, I would go to the work alternate days. I go there on Monday, Tuesday I go to Nairobi, Wednesday I would probably go back to work, and Thursday I go to Nairobi again. So it was alternate days. I'm in different places. And then of course I had very supportive staff, and they would work without me. The moment I go there on Monday, I set up everything, and they would do the job. Maybe they would call when need be, but most of the time they wouldn't call. They would just do the job, and of course the branch was also doing very well. Apparently, God has a way of rewarding and taking care of you when you are in problems. So that is how it was. And then back home, the kids were also needing my assurance. I would wake up very early because they were in primary school. I would wake up very early. I will pray for them in the morning. I'll pray for them in the evening when they are going to bed. So I will make sure they are prepared. We had another, a good house help as well.
It's important.
So all those people, I would say the support system at that point was very good for me, and especially work. I've never seen a good boss like that lady. To date, I call her mom. I respect her. And wherever she is, I always say, you really helped me, because there are bosses that will not care whether you have a patient or not, and they would want work. So from there now, when now a week goes, and the professor, the neurologist says,
allow me to intercept a bit.
Yes.
I think I had been in the hospital now, I think this time for over 2 weeks.
yes,
Yes, it is over 2 weeks. Yes. And they had said the growth has brought something they call transverse myelitis. They said the problem was on the left side, but the issue now was thrown to the right. So now they started dealing with transverse myelitis. That's why my right leg and my right hand were down.
They had now diagnosed the samples they had taken. They had diagnosed that transverse myelitis. One, it affected the immune system,
The nervous system.
and the nervous system. And that is why now there was paralysis checking in, and then of course the immune problem was what they call autoimmune and all that. So she's now there paralyzed. She's doing physios there, and you could see she would go to the physiotherapy room, and she's tied to some tumors, and the machine is pressed, and she's lifted. Yeah, she screams and screams because the machine will suspend her. The hands are straight, and the legs are just the level that now she's like standing on her own. But then the machine now will relax so that she puts pressure on the arms. Yeah? So she will scream and scream and scream. So of course now with time now, that started healing. The healing process started coming in, and the operation never came to be. We always say God did the operation himself.
Yes, yes.
And we thank God for the operation. So to cut the long story short, she was there for 30 days in the hospital, and then we were told now she will need to be discharged. But of course now the condition she was, because she was already paralyzed and she was still in the healing process, I had to start shopping for a wheelchair. But then she told me I will not sit on a wheelchair. So I'm like, now how do we move on? You can't
Is she
walk.
okay now?
No. She's still weak.
Okay.
Yes.
Why are you refusing?
My faith didn't allow me to agree. So I kept refusing.
But you can't move.
Yes, I can't move. But my faith tells me God can give life to what is dead.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I joined with hers, and I said, by the way, yeah, God can do a miracle.
Yes.
And now the day of discharge is here. She's still not able to walk. So I process the discharge, and then we go to the ward, put her on the wheelchair for the hospital, push to the car, the parking yard, Nairobi Hospital. Then she's put in the car. Of course, with the help of the porters and the nurses there, they put
no wheelchair.
No wheelchair, and we are going home. And that time she has taken a lot of steroids. She has ballooned. She's big, and kilos have gone almost 90 or something. I think I was 70 kilos. So a 70 kilo cannot lift a 90 kilos. So I was wondering, we get home, so what happens? So we drive home, and we get home, and there is no wheelchair. I can't lift her from the car, so I had to call neighbors to come and help me lift her and move her from the wheelchair to the house. So my neighbors did that. I had an office chair in the house, so we put her on that office chair, which is wheeled. So we then start the healing process at home. This time round, we don't have a wheelchair. She's paralyzed, and we have to move on. And she had developed some seizures. Sometimes she would just like, you think she's Nikifafa. So akianza hiyo, you have to hold her, and so that was the life actually, and it went for some time. Physiotherapy in the house, and all that. So, and then after, I think after 2 weeks from the discharge, because she was discharged with a lot of medication, then one evening we are watching telly, and she says, why are you switching off the television? Then I say, no, the telly is still on. And she says, no, you have switched off, I can't see. So we realize she's not seeing. Yeah, so
Hold. Why are you not seeing? Is it tuko sawa na wewe?
But now I could not see. So I thought they have switched off the TV. And I asked, why are you switching off? Wakaniuliza nani amesima? Nikasema si ni nyinyi mmesima TV. Kaniambia hapana, TV iko. Nikamwambia hapana. Umesima TV.
Why are you complaining only about the TV? Are you seeing them?
You see now, when the eye switched off, I was looking at the TV, and that's the only thing I can complain about.
Oh,
yes. So kuangalia kando hata na wao siwaoni. So that's when I realized, okay, ni mimi sioni, si TV haioni.
yeah. So
Let me get back to when I was getting out of Nairobi Hospital. My faith was very strong that I would not stay in a wheelchair. And when I was wheeled to the car, na wakanikatisha kwa kiti ya co-driver, niliangalia wheelchair, and even the porter wondered what I was doing. Niliambia wheelchair, sikiza, sitawahi kukukalia maisha yangu. I talked to the wheelchair. Nikamwambia ni leo siku yangu ya mwisho. Mimi nitatembea. Na tukafunga mlango wa gari na tukaenda nyumbani. So as I go home, and as I was refusing the wheelchair, my faith was that I will not be in a wheelchair. Because then God who operated on me, I didn't go through an operation. I kept reminding God, you didn't allow me to go to the theater because of the back. I will also not sit in a wheelchair. You have the power.
Thank you.
So I kept confessing. The healing process back at home was not easy. Epileptic fits, something that just developed from nowhere. But in the process, there is this, our pastor's son, God bless him, even today. He made me a CD with the songs of praise and worship. That is what was playing in my house. Morning, evening, 24 hours.
Thank you.
So if you enter the door of my house, there was worship or praise, and I kept singing and confessing. And let me tell you, the healing was faster. It was faster. You know, when you emotionally get healing, the body also responds.
Correct.
And when your spirit is in synchrony with your emotions, your body responds. So I think in the process, God just kept visiting me day after another. And after some time, I could stand. Mtoto wangu ananiambia, mama, simama nikushikilie utembee na ukuta. Ananishikilia na nikaboi kadogo tu. Tunatembea pole pole, twende nikupeleke ukajisaidie mama. Twende, ninaenda na ninarudi. And I started walking slowly. But now in the process is when now this other one struck me. This now ya kufunga macho sioni.
Thank you, Makena.
Yeah, so that, I think when that came up of the blindness, we were again in shock. So what happened? And then we start now looking for a professor again and say, now this is where we are. So he says, quickly bring her to the hospital, Nairobi. We will have to admit and do some antidotes. So when she heard of admission again, she said, I'm not being admitted. So I told the doctor she's not going to be admitted. She has refused. So he said...
But I had hospital phobia. Remember, 30 days, morning, evening, you are waking up to nurses, you are waking up to... I remember when I was in the hospital, I can remember there was a lady from Meru who passed on when I was there. And it kept traumatizing me.
You felt like...
Why did she have to die? Why did she have to die? So, like me, I ensured I never confessed that I was going to die. Even if I felt what? I kept saying, thank you, God, I will not die. That was my confession every day. Yes.
Yeah. So I think through that, when now she said she's not going to hospital, we said
be admitted.
To be admitted. We said we now have to look for an alternative. So we said we go to Lions because it was an eye problem. Let's drive to Lions in Nairobi, the PCA hospital in Nairobi, the eye clinic. So we get there and we get an Asian doctor there, and he says this condition again we have to admit. So she again now says, no, I'm not going to be admitted. Remember, all this time she's still not walking by herself. It's helping, and she's still recovering from the paralysis. The wheelchair we don't have. All this time is we assist her pole pole, anaingia kwa gari, from the car to the doctor, tunasaidiana, tunamrudisha kwa gari. And I think is one of the things I say God gave me a lot of grace, because most of the time when your partner is in such a situation, you are probably tempted to abandon and move on. But
yes.
I was so convinced that everything else is going to be well. So yeah, we talked to Professor again, and he referred to us to another doctor in KNH, and we did local arrangements, and she was given the drug, because the drug was said it has to be administered inpatient, not outpatient. But we did a local arrangement, and they agreed to give us the outpatient. They injected, and then they said the second dose we go to the nearest facility, we are injected and come back, and that's how we went about that. So she was blind, totally blind, for around 2 weeks, until that medication now was removed from the system. Then they started now balancing, because again that medication was to treat the paralysis. So if the paralysis was not treated, she would remain paralyzed. But then if it continued by its own, then she would lose the eyes. So there was a very tricky balance for the doctor to see how do they balance that she's not blind and she's not paralyzed. And by God's grace, she went through that, and in two weeks she started seeing from up. So kidogo kidogo, after some time now she could see everything well. So that now the blind period, and then after that now we get back to the healing process of the other disease. Yeah, so I think it was such a time that I saw a lot of grace, because it was not easy. So we come back again now to normal treatment and this physiotherapy and all that. And I think most of the things now, I would go to work, leave her there. And I remember one time she fell with our young daughter in the house alone, and I was in Kitui. Then I'm being called, and I'm told Mom is in the bathroom and she can't walk, she can't lift herself. Our daughter was very small, she can't do it. So she came and lied, slept alongside her, just at the corridor, waiting for help. So I had to call neighbors and tell them, please go to my house. My wife is on the corridor. The house girl we had was 1 GB. She could also not lift her. So they went and found her, and the daughter, she's lying on the corridor, and the daughter is lying there alongside her and crying. So they assisted her and moved her again now to the sitting room, and I quickly drove from Kitui and came, and then we took her again to hospital for reviews, and yeah, that was her life. And we have come through all that, and I think there has been a lot of things and developments during and after that.
So at what point, now I am seeing her moving her hands, she can move her leg. How did you finally get fully healed?
I think I can attest my healing to God's power. Amen. I cannot sincerely say it is the medication by itself. I say the medication without Christ would not have made it. So God in himself, by himself, did it through the doctors and even through them that were around me. One thing that gave me a lot of peace is the help I got from my immediate family, even the relatives and friends. My friends really came in for me, and my family was there around me all the time. They would ensure I eat well, I drink well, I am at peace, nothing is disturbing me. And one thing that I need to say, one time when the day I got paralyzed was on Friday, and I was supposed to go for an MRI. So the porter came for me from the hospital bed, and as we were moving out of the ward, I heard a voice. Na nikastuka, nikamwangalia, nikamuuliza, porter, umeniongelesha? Akaniambia hapana. But the voice was loud and I heard it.
What did the voice say?
The voice told me, and I will meet all your needs, apply for all of them,
Amen,
according to my riches in glory.
Amen.
And I was like, okay, I don't understand this, but let me see. That word came to pass even to today. My house never lacked food. My house never lacked fruits. It never lacked anything, even to today. God has been very faithful. He ensured.
Sorry, I'm cutting you short. You have a very wonderful husband.
Yes.
Yes.
And at times, even in his absentia, God could just send somebody. Tunakaa tu tuko hapo kwa nyumba tunasikia noko. Nimekuja kukuona, a full basket with shopping. And I would, my house girl would tell me, Mama Abi, today hatuna matunda. Namwambia Mungu analeta. In fact, hatutamaliza 1 hour. Kuna mtu ataleta matunda.
Wow.
So that was our life. At times he could shop, at times he comes and finds them in the house. So God has been very gracious, and that one gave me peace. You know what eats women so much is watoto wangu watakula nini, na nyumba yangu itakaa namna gani. But God took care of all of that. So I can say even in the desert, there is always an oasis that God makes for you to drink from.
This is a whole life-turning experience with your wife, Makena. And I will ask you this because we've also seen some people go through challenges. Remember the vows you make that I will love you till death do us part. But some people, when those challenges come, they tend to run away. What made you stick to Makena all through the thin and the thickness?
I think by the time I'm settling to marry her, I had prayed a lot, and I was very sure that this is the girl, this is the lady I would live with the whole of my life. I wonder how I would do with a different person in the house. So I knew, and those vows also kept me awake and remembering that I said, okay, through thick and thin, through diseases, through health, we will stick together. So the fear of God and the fact that I was so sure when we got into marriage that this is the partner that the Lord has prepared for me. So I knew if I lose her, then I don't have another one. Yeah. So and that kept me going.
Thank you. Financially?
Financially, it was very challenging because she used to work. Now she's not working. She used to do business. She's not doing business. So, and the 30 days in Nairobi hospital was not a cheap thing. We exhausted our medical covers with the insurance. But the employer was gracious enough. They actually the hospital just discharged us with a bill pending, and then the employer undertook to pay, and then after that we will sort out on the side. But after discharge, then I called a few friends and we met and they cleared everything. So
Amen.
At least that kind of social capital where you have friends who you can run to was very. I found it very good, and of course, God was with us. So financially, we kind of maneuvered.
Okay. Makena, as we finish, what would you say, Ama, what lessons did you learn from what Dan did? Standing by you, it's not easy. Yes.
One thing I usually tell people, and I say it wherever I go, I got the only angel who was remaining on earth.
Oh, yeah.
I found a man who sincerely loves me, because was it not the love of God in him for me, then he would have gone, because I'm not the best. But God ensured I got the comfort and the consolation through him. And even up to today, I usually pray for him, telling God, Mungu tu muhifadhi kwa sababu yangu. And he supported me. He gave me the strength to keep pushing in life. You see, if you got somebody, a partner who is supportive, it gives you the will and the hope to keep hoping for tomorrow. So his support behind me every time, and the love he has for the children, make me know I have nothing more to do behind. Let me look forward and get a will to live because of them.
Do you feel like you owe him something based on what all that he's done for you?
Sincerely, so much, but it's only God who can reward him.
Amen. Yes,
Like
yes.
human, I may not, because I'm weak. I have my limitations, but I know God has a reward for him. So the only thing that I usually do so much, when I'm able, he can tell you, I do my best to support him. But much more, he knows my needs are for him.
Amen.
And the children.
That's what many people don't know. Dan, talk to young couples, not just young couples, all the couples basically who are there, even people who are not married and they're planning to marry. Talk to them about, you know, those things, the life dynamics that come in between and change your lives literally from maybe if you're working the two of you to one person now being the sole provider of the family. What do you tell them about, you know, the life challenges in marriage?
I would say one, even before I talk to the couples, is during this time God gave us a ministry to minister to couples and to help couples even to on how to live this kind of marriage life. In nowadays we say marriage doesn't work, but I want to say that marriage works.
Yes.
It really works. It's not that it doesn't work. It's us to make it work. So when I'm talking to the couples is to say that remember the vows we make, that through thin and thick we will live. And remember, most of the time when you meet the young people they want to marry, we meet some and you ask them, why do you want to get married? They talk of companionship, they talk of many things. And one of the things is, I would say, is when you get into marriage, it is a lifelong business kind of you've gotten into, and the Bible does not give us an opportunity to depart from each other unless death comes. So the moment you go through hard lives, it doesn't stay. It's not there forever. It's a stage you are passing, and there are better things ahead when you are two rather than when you are with one. And remember, when you're getting married, you get married to an adult, somebody you have not grown together, probably you've not lived together. So there are things that you continually learn from your partner, and you can never exhaust the learnings from your partner. So when you come through challenges, bear with one another, bear with the weaknesses of one another, and give it time, it will go, and you will enjoy life afterwards.
Thank you. Last question. Actually, one question as we wind up. Have you ever been tempted maybe to go outside your marriage, especially when she was sick?
I would say that is a thought that has never come into my mind. As I said, by the time I was deciding to settle with her, I had all the assurance that there is no other woman on the world who can live with me. So if I lost this one, I did not imagine there is any other one. So I never thought of maybe moving out or whatever. And my faith also would not allow me to think like that. I've captured my thoughts and directed them to the will of God. So I never had thoughts of moving out. The only thought that I may say would come is I would look at the clothes in the bedroom and wonder if the owner of these clothes were not there. how will I be and how will I look? Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Makena, one
Yes,
word to the
yes.
couples.
I would want to say, ukikuja kwa ndoa, do not come expecting to receive. Come with a heart of giving. If you came into marriage wanting to give, then you will receive.
Amen.
But if you came expecting, nimekuja kupata mtu wa kunipikia, nimekuja kupata mtu wa kunifulia nguo, you'll be disappointed. Come with a mind of, nimekuja kumsaidia, make better. One thing I can attest is that this husband of mine has made me whom I am. At times I'm not patient, but his quiet demeanor makes me just calm down even when I don't want to. So it has helped me, and I would want to tell the couples, please stick together no matter what happens.
Thank you. Tumalize, mtu labda anataka kuwapata, you said you are a counselor, he said he's a counselor, you two look like you can also put couples together. Tunawapata aje? Do you have social media handles? Do you have a public number that you are willing to share with the public and stuff? Ama ofisi labda?
I think you can get us through our mobile numbers, which we can share with you separately in your channels. We are also on Facebook. Maybe individually we are on Facebook. Like you find Dan Mutunga in Facebook, you find Jane Makena on Facebook. We also have an office in Machakos. It's called Goodness and Mercy, a wellness center. You can find us there. We have a website. If you log into website Goodness and Mercy, you will find us there. You can send, you can ask any question there, and you can find us in that office. It is opposite. It is in the building where we have NCBA Bank, just first floor. You'll find us there. It's called Goodness and Mercy Wellness Center. My number is 0724 840 529, and our number is
0722 695749.
Thank you. I pray that God keeps on keeping you together and blessing you and blessing Dan for what you've done. No man can do it. Wallahi, I'm telling you this. I've seen people just go separate ways because of this life dynamics, and I must give it to you. Thank you so much for coming to Salsha Betty Show. I appreciate you, and thank you for sharing your story with us. God bless you.
Thank you for hosting us, and God bless you too.
Amen. Na kwako wewe mtazamaji, I hope you learned one or two things from Dan and Jane's story, that no matter the challenges you meet in your marriage, you can always stay together and God will do wonders as he did to them. We must also appreciate people or our partners, wale ambao tunakaa nao pale nyumbani, for everything, for all the sacrifices they make and for everything that they do for us, especially on our dying sides. We meet again on the next episode of Salsha Betty Show. Kama uja subscribe, of course, unafinya hapo chini, you subscribe, like this content, share even with your friends who are going through hardships in their marriage. Naitwa Salsha Betty Wambua. We meet again in the next episode. See ya.